solution can deploy over the premise with the container OpenShift?
Yes. So on-premise we can support. There's absolutely no problem there. It can also be done on a containerized basis, and our expert will be able to give you the sizing requirements for that. So we can give you the worker node needs.
Deepak, just once again, I think Viral is already in the call. Let Viral respond to that question.
Sure,
So
sure.
Viral,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
Thanks,
there was some
Indranil.
question on OpenShift. Yeah.
Yeah, so our product solution, it works on OpenShift container technology, Open Kubernetes container technology, Elastic Kubernetes, Azure Kubernetes, all of these popular container technologies. The solution works. So typically, if any customer goes for a containerized deployment in on-premise, most of the customers opt for OpenShift, Red Hat OpenShift based deployment, wherein if you decide to go with that, then the sizing will change to what are the worker nodes required, and the tech stack which comes with OpenShift, right? So finally, all of these are Kubernetes flavors. We will ship you certified Docker images, which will be Twistlog certified Docker images. They'll be made available in a JFrog repository at Intellect end, and from your premise, your DevOps team or your IT operations team will have the scripted mechanism to pull the Docker images from our repository and trigger the CD, the continuous deployment and the continuous delivery pipeline, right, to deploy onto your OpenShift cluster. So OpenShift is a very standard offering from us. So if you have any specific questions, then we can take specific questions in the area of OpenShift.
So what version of the OpenShift you Intellect support?
Yeah. So Praveen Reyes, can you just specify the version?
We are using 4.11.
Yeah, thanks, Reyes.
Can you say again?
4.11. However, if you have any specific version, so this is what we use, but however, of course, the versions keep on changing at the customer end also. So, if you have a higher version or a lower version, certification with that should not be a problem. But by default, currently we are using 4.11.
So 4.3 is fine too, right?
Yes, we can 4.3 anyways was earlier. We can certify with 4.3 as well. Not an issue, not a problem.
So have you any on-premise OpenShift container deployment solution right now?
So see, there are customers in the process of using OpenShift, more of a active customer, not a live customer. But we have other customers which have used, Azure Kubernetes, Elastic Kubernetes of AWS. So they are just different flavors of Kubernetes, one of them being Red Hat OpenShift. But if you specifically ask for OpenShift, so that is, I would say, under implementation at a couple of customers' sites.
Okay. So
but in our sorry, just to continue that and conclude that. So when we host our cloud, we host it on the Kubernetes service of Azure or AWS, right? In on-premise, when customers manage it, generally they are using OpenShift, right? So if we have to release for an on-premise customer, then we certify our images on OpenShift before shipping it to the customer. If we have to release it to our cloud, then we certify it on the cloud Kubernetes service, which is Elastic Kubernetes or Azure Kubernetes, and release it to the cloud, right? But finally, the YAML files, right, they go through only very specific changes for that Kubernetes platform. The process that we still use for deployment is the Helm install, Helm Helm mechanism to install and upgrade the images.
So, I'm so sorry. Would you please say that about the CI/CD process again for the on-premise with the OpenShift? Thank you.
Sure. I'll do that. Meanwhile, Praveen, if you can just project that slide which shows, the JFrog and this thing. Meanwhile, I'll start explaining. Praveen, can you
Sure,
just project that slide? Yeah.
I'm right away doing that. Just give me a minute.
Yeah. So let that slide be projected. It will be much easier, for you to visualize. Yeah, this slide. Put it on a slideshow mode, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Thanks, brother.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. So if you look at the previous diagram. Yeah, this one. Yeah. If you look at this, I'll just explain this diagram. The bottom three box is our CI pipeline, right? Where from our Git repositories, we have the Jenkins based CI pipeline. It has the various CI tools and builds the Docker images. Okay. Now, if it is, the image has to be deployed on our development environment, our SIT environment, then the deployment target will be one of the clusters on the top. So we have, the deployment target on the top will be our AWS cluster for our testing, or our, demo cluster, or our SIT cluster, and so on and so forth. So that is internal to us. That is just for you to understand. What is relevant is the right part, right? So when we are ready to, the Docker image is certified in our SIT cluster, right? What we do is we push the Docker image to the JFrog on the right, right? Yeah, I mean, if you can take a mouse, correct. So this JFrog is our release area. It is hosted in Intellect. It's an enterprise JFrog, right? And the cluster on the right, where you have shown, where we have seen that the customer can have either a cloud-based cluster, which can be a AWS, Azure, or a Google cloud-based private cloud cluster, or a VPC setup, or it can be the OpenShift setup, which is shown by that icon within the blue box, right? So which can typically will be on-premise. So that particular setup, for the images to deploy there will be a CD pipeline, or a continuous deployment and delivery pipeline, which will pull the images from JFrog and deploy to the target Kubernetes, which is in your case OpenShift, right? So what you will maintain, or your DevOps team will maintain, is a CD pipeline, and what we will test is CI pipeline and CD onto our development and SIT environments. So because we need some way to transfer the images to your cluster, right? And some way to then deploy the images onto your cluster. So transferring is via JFrog, and deploying is basically via triggering the CD pipeline or the DevOps pipeline on your side, which will not build the images, which will not build any source code, because you would already have the images. It will take the images, put it in the repository that you have, which comes along with OpenShift, the Docker repository. And from there, it will again take the image and deploy to the OpenShift cluster. And your OpenShift cluster can be across 2 worker nodes or 3-4 worker nodes, depending on the sizing, which is derived for your volumes. So I just take a pause here just to ask whether your doubt is clarified, ma'am.
Okay, now and get to more understandable. But I still have one question for you: is that who gonna trigger the CD process to deploy to the production? It's Intellect or Casey?
Because this is on premise, it is customer managed. Okay, it will be managed by your IT team or your DevOps team. So your team, the bank team, will trigger the pipeline for deploying to the UAT, for deploying to the pre-production, and then finally deploying to the production. So in on-premise, it is completely managed by the customer.
Yes, but I mean, because the product is owned by Intellect, so Intellect will prepare the CI and the deploy to the SIT, UAT, and everything for us. So you will notice the Kasei IT team to ready for deployment, right?
So we will provide a tested and a certified image which is tested in our dev and SIT, our environment. It is tested, and
Okay.
we will make the image available to you in a publicly accessible, means internet accessible, but with private credentials, JFrog repository or a repository, right? Then
Oh, okay, I got you.
right. So because see, your environment is in the control of your DevOps team and your IT team, correct? Because this is on premise, let's just take for a moment step back. Suppose it was a app server deployment, right? Suppose if it was an app server deployment, then we would have provided to you the EAR file, and your WebLogic administrator or WebSphere administrator or a JBoss administrator would have deployed that EAR, right? Because that app server is managed by your IT team. Same way, in this case, this is changing to OpenShift, which is a Kubernetes flavor cluster, right? So we will provide the Docker images instead of EAR file,
Yeah.
and your IT team will trigger your deployment pipelines for the on-site environments or the customer environments, which is UAT, pre-production, and production.
Okay.
So it will be managed by your IT team, is what I just wanted to explain.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. 哎，华智还有 Benson，我们这边还有没有其他问题？
这边没有，然后看一下那个 Water 这边 OK 吗
还 OK。
？OK， 所以它应该是支援我们相关的一些OpenShift 的一些 OKD 的一些东西，对，所以 so far 我这边没有其他的一些点。那它也会协助刚刚讲协助我们建相关的一些CI/CD 的部分嘛，对不对？
对对，
OK，
因为
给我们一些建议。OK，
对他到时候他就是会把他们 build 好这个 image， 就是会放到那个repository 去，然后由我们
OK
这里自己来决定要不要去部署这样子。
OK， 好，那我这边应该没有其他的一些问题。那看那个小欧你这边如果它地端云的部分这边你们这边 OK 吗？
我们这边没有问题。
OK， 好，那刚刚那个阿志也说这边没有什么问题，那说法看还有没有其他的问题要问一下那个Intellect 的部分。好，没有。OK， 那它地端只能用 Oracle 是不是
？Hi GT, we have one question. So is that the DB selection for on-premise only can be the Oracle? Is that possible? We use some other the database.
So we do support Oracle as well as PostgreSQL, right? But what exact? Yeah, PostgreSQL.
Okay.
Oh, Postgre, OK. 好 ，OK， 那没有问题的。
I hope we are good with that, or you have something else in mind?
No, Postgre is good for
Okay,
us.
perfect. Yeah.
Mongo is possible.
We have not done Mongo yet, and also it is not. I don't think well stabilized. Yeah, with it.
And Mongo is more of a non-SQL, so we normally work with relational database. So what we do is, because we work with relational database, we certify our products with Oracle. And as an alternative to Oracle, because Postgre is the most popular alternative to Oracle in the relational space, relational database space, we certify periodically with PostgreSQL, Postgre database.
Okay, I see. Thank you. Good. Thank you. 好，没有问题了。
嘿，喂，我这边也没有问题。 交还去给你。
OK，谢谢。Megan，我们还有没有什么其他想要确认或补充的吗？或者是亮 or Mercy，do we have any further questions that you want to ask？
Yeah. So any release of the product, right, which has to be required to you, that release will go through our development testing in our Kubernetes clusters, and after that it will be made available to you. The updated images will be made available to you. So always it will be the updated images which will be made available to you, and for the first time you will need the Helm charts. So those Helm charts with the template configurations, those will be made available. But they will be only required one time. Once the Helm charts are tailored, or I would say tuned to the target environment, then we don't need to release Helm charts every time. We only release the images, the Docker images updated. You will, so in short, you will get, for every release you will get the updated Docker images for the microservices which have gone through the change.
Liang, sorry, is it yet?
I will take that question. I will take that question internally here. See, so far as our application goes, okay, so we are not going to be differentiating it at all. So, because if you see, even in the commercial model that we had given earlier, Terry, if you see the proposal, there we had already given two options. One was the option one was the complete cloud provided, including infrastructure with managed cloud, and option 1.2 we gave was only for our application only, right? So the application price and application commercials as a special case will still continue with that. So far as the infrastructure is concerned, for the new sizing, etc., that we can do, there are two options. One is, we can give you the sizing, and if you think that you want to, go ahead and procure that, we are absolutely fine. The other option is, if you ask us to procure it and give it to you, but I think you will definitely have a better negotiation leverage. So we leave that to your option. But so far as the application is concerned, we have no change in the commercial.
Okay. Right. I guess from TPI, I think we don't have any further questions for now.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank
Praveen,
you.
you can stop sharing. Yeah.
Any questions from Cathay team?
So one question from my side, Terry. So do we need to give you a sizing for the on-prem deployment?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So Jitin, that's an action item on us. Okay. So I think Rahul, you have all the data that you need, right, Rahul?
Yeah, I have the data, but I will just clear the expectation here. From the on-prem side of the sizing part, we are only providing the worker node sizing for the on-prem deployment. Okay, all these supporting environment for the Kubernetes cluster, master nodes, and all those things, bank has to manage that with the respective vendor.
No. So you're talking about from the managed services perspective, or what is it?
It is
Because
from it's from the infra point of view also, because like if they go for the OpenShift deployment, so the OpenShift sizing, basically the Kubernetes sizing, the master node and the infra node sizing, the bank has to do as per the OpenShift recommendation.
Correct.
Okay.
So you will
From
give the worker node specifications, right?
Yeah, I will give the worker node specification.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I think that's fine.
Right. Okay. So
yeah. One more question. You're from TPI. You're from the Liang. Yeah, about SLA and local support.
Yeah. So as we discussed, we have an office in Vietnam. So
Yeah.
and we are supporting many customers there, and we have local Vietnamese people supporting that. So Thui himself is based in our Vietnam office, so no problem on supporting.
Yeah, we have both technical and functional team to support a lot of customer in Vietnam. Yeah.
okay, good to know. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we are good from our side. So Rahul, I mean, when can we turn around this document? So you're going to have some discussion with Viral and Ajay and team, right?
Yeah, I will discuss internally, and if any changes are required, I'm assuming the volume is same what we have considered earlier for the cloud, and internally I will discuss and provide the size.
Okay, and in case you need any questions to be answered, just take Jitin's help. Jitin is centrally coordinating everything.
Sure.
So why, Terry, any further questions, or we can close the call?
No, I think so far we are good now. So we don't have any question.
Sure.
Now.
Just one correction from my side. We are using 4.7, so 4.3 also will be okay. The OpenShift version. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It was just a mistake from my side.
Yeah. And one point I want to make, anyway, that's a separate discussion. So Jitin, we need to set up that other session which we discussed the other day, right? For the technical section. So we'll set up a separate session on that.
Yes.
That was on this. So Viral has to come in there also for the deployment and Kubernetes, that kind of microservices and this thing.
But so that we can discuss in
yeah, we will do it separately. Yeah.
Yeah. But I hope Terry and Wei, they have clarity that we can have deployment both in containerized microservices fashion on-prem, as well as the conventional method based on packages. So,
Terry, if I may ask, I mean, this thought of doing it on-prem, is it because State Bank of Vietnam has said that you cannot deploy it on cloud? Is it so?
Yes, because of the regulation. We are afraid that our application cannot be
oh, got it.
approved.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So SLAs were there. Deepak, do you want to take it up?
I think what we can do, Jitin, we can share the SLAs that we have as a standard.
Correct.
It's anyway a documented standard document from our side. We'll just share it with you for your reference. It should be.
Yeah, we'll. Yeah. So and in that SLA we usually have a response and a workaround time, and then a permanent fixed time kind of.
Correct.
So we'll get back with that document.
Okay, sure. So, Terry, as a next step, I'll just consolidate the revised sizing, the SLA presentation or the document, and send it across, right? And in case there are further queries or discussions required, we can plan for next session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jitin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.